Allison Rosen. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello, welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is your new best friend. I am very excited to welcome to the show someone who has been on the show 3 times on the Thursday group show, but each time, but especially the last time, I'm like, I need a little more time with this guy without all these other people so that I can really get to the heart of like, what makes him tick? Will we find out today? I don't know. I also need to say right at the top, something is going on with my left ear. And so it is distracting to me. So in the way that I'm not normally on top of my game, I'm going to be even like, here's me and like my game is in the other room. Can't decide if that was clever or just very ridiculous sounding. I think it was ridiculous sounding, but I'm only hearing it out of my right ear. So anyway, please put your hands together for pro wrestler, artist, Twitch streamer, lover of animals, former radio personality, Dalton, someone who's choking, Dalton Castle.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh my God, what an operative moment for my throat to just quit on me.
Does that...
Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
You sure
Welcome.
you want to do this? I mean, you have, for sure, you've figured it out. I'm not that deep of a person. There's not much more to get to.
Well, that's what we'll find out, won't we?
Won't we?
Won't we? Here's the thing. And I didn't intend to bring this up right at the start because I have other things I want to get to. You were up at 2 a.m. looking at a groundhog. I mean, I have a special message from someone we're going to play. There's a lot of, it's a surprise. There's a surprise. There's a lot of stuff, but here's the deal. On the most recent Thursday show, RJ City, who you've come on every time with, we realized that you guys are opposites. Mm-hmm. He is a miserable, gloomy, neurotic person. I don't know how much I agree with all that, but that's like how he presents comedically.
No, it's pretty true.
It might be true.
He's a nervous wreck. You ever seen like a hamster in like on a 7-year-old's hands, how their eyes are bulging out and they're shaking? That's RJ. But just every moment in life.
Right. And like even in happy moments, he has trouble feeling joy. Whereas you are the opposite, seemingly. You seem to be able to stay in the moment. If things go wrong, you're able to laugh about it. According to RJ on the show, even when things are like times of your life where things, like right now, things seem to be going really well for you, and congratulations. But even in times of your life where it wasn't like that, when you had been injured, you didn't know if you were going to be able to continue wrestling, you still were just as happy. As someone who would like to be like that and who's not like that, I'm just like, I need to find out what went into what created this person.
Okay, yeah. I mean, thank you for coloring me like that. I do feel generally happy. I think I always kind of steer towards the bright side of the situations. And I don't know if that's just who I am naturally or if I've just been kind of lucky where my life is great, that I don't really have much to complain about. Or is it I don't know. I don't know if it's something I consciously do. Because I do have sad days. I do have them. And I would say I just have more happy days than sad. Or I do my best to try to like point out what's good in life and really concentrate on that. And that kind of makes things easier.
I was listening to an episode of Sam Roberts' podcast that you were on in 2016. And you did talk on that show about a stretch of time where you were depressed. So you're not just Mr. Sunshine.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I've learned getting older. I've learned it's easier to go through life if you accept what's happening and also like look at the hilarity of the situation. Like RJ says, I'm able to kind of embrace when things are falling apart and make fun and laugh, especially, I would say, especially when things are going bad. That's sometimes the funniest moments to me because what can you do other than if you sit there and panic about how awful it is and then start thinking about how worse it's gonna get? I start thinking about how worse it's gonna get, and then it makes me laugh.
Do you find yourself catastrophizing ever?
What does that mean?
Like thinking about the worst case scenario. Like, I mean, I suppose maybe you kind of just answered that you don't do that, but catastrophizing would be like, I'm nervous about, let's say you had surgery the next day, or, in a few days. Catastrophizing would be thinking about every single way it could go wrong.
I used to.
Okay.
It's still like those thoughts pop up, but I have been on this planet for 36 years and I've gotten through every awful thing that's come in my path. And because I've gotten through all that, I realize when something bad comes across, I'll get through that too. I just got to remind myself that like, this is just another thing I gotta work towards. And once I like convince myself of that, which is not easy. It's difficult. Sometimes it takes days. Then it gets a little easier and just accept, because like a lot of times the worry that I have is about stuff that hasn't even happened. So like, why am I worrying about it? It hasn't happened yet. It's not real.
Oh, I think by definition, all worrying is about stuff that hasn't happened yet, right?
Yeah. So it's ridiculous to even like let it occupy your brain at all.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's so healthy. That is a mindset that most people can't achieve. Tony Thaxton, hello.
Hi.
How far into it are we? I mean, we're like 8 minutes.
Yeah. But I mean, it's different on the Monday show.
Yes.
You did used to come to me early, but now it's just like whenever it happens.
Honestly, if I didn't have this ear issue and if I were fully off my game in the normal way I'm off my game and not even further off my game, then I feel like I would have gone to you around the 3 or 4 minute mark.
What do you think's going on with your ear? Is it the headphone or is it your actual ear?
No, it's my actual ear. I was feeling some allergy earlier. So there's 2 different allergy pill or medications I will take. One is Zyrtec, which is a pill, and the other is this like nasal spray thing that the ear, nose, and throat doctor gave me. And so I had that in my room. God forbid I go out of the room to get Zyrtec. So I'm like, I'm just going to use that. And I did that. And I'm wondering if I don't know if it irritated something or if it went in the wrong place or I don't know. But since then, one of my ears has felt clogged. But I feel like this has been happening a lot lately.
When you need new ears. You ever think of that?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. Where does one get them?
I got an ear guy.
Claire's.
You do?
Yeah.
Ooh. No, that's where you go to get your new earrings. Oh, do they sell ears now?
Yeah, they're in the back.
Wonderful.
Everything for your head is at Claire's.
There was a head shop
That's
in
their
Orange
slogan,
County. Right? Yeah. There was a
Wait.
head shop called Things for Your Head. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. It was called Things for Your Head. But then I think they were worried that it was too like salacious. So they changed it to Things for You. But it was still just a head shop.
Wait, it's a head shop. Is that like smoke stuff? What is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where,
Like
what
hookahs?
did they, hookahs, bongs, probably like lighters with naked ladies on them. Maybe some pewter spoon teaks or something. What did they call those stores where you grew up?
No, I think they're called head shops.
Okay.
Well,
You were
now
just
where I live now, they all just said vape shop. Like they're all vape something.
yes.
Vape is the new head.
That's there.
Hey man, you ever
That's-
got road vape?
I know people who've gotten in accidents over road vape. Okay. All right. I say let's start with a surprise message for you, Dalton. Let's hear
Okay.
it.
I'm so excited.
Hey, Dalton, Jimmy Pardo here. Listen, Allison tells me that you're the guest on her show this week. Don't screw this up. The last thing I need to hear is that you throw her into a half Nelson or, God forbid, a full Nelson. or a fireman's carrier, or some other wrestling term that I remember from way back in the day. Anyway, let's hit the mat. Stay safe. 10 and 2, goggles and gloves.
This is the greatest surprise ever. I'm so happy. Goggles and gloves.
Well, I know you're
the
a Never
best.
Not Funny Jimmy Pardo fan.
Yes.
So I thought
huge.
maybe I could get a message from him to you, and that was that.
Allison, that was so great. I loved that. Thank you.
Good. You're so
I'm going to tell all
welcome.
my friends I was on Jimmy's podcast because I'm on a podcast with Jimmy, I'll say.
Yes, that's what you should say. Okay, so a lot to get to. Let's just first hear a bit. I still want to go back to all the stuff we were talking about. And you said that you had like learned in your 36 years, you've overcome a bunch of bad stuff. And of course, I'm legally obligated to follow up with like, what is the bad stuff? But let's get to that after we talk about a couple other things, because you said that you were up till 2 a.m. to see a groundhog. Please.
Oh my God, yes.
Let us know.
Yes. And was it worth it is the question I'm still asking myself. Okay, so you know the movie Groundhog Day with
Of
Bill
course.
Murray? It takes place in Punxsatawney, Pennsylvania, which the movie I learned after visiting was filmed in Indiana. It was not filmed where I went.
Okay.
But the spirit of the fest is still alive, such as the movie. It's bananas. So another wrestler, one of my very good friends, Matt Taven, he's like my travel guy. For a while, it was like me, RJ, Matt. We were car buddies. And then we're still friends today, which is great. And Matt had texted me and said he's going to the festival. He had bought a ticket and booked the car and the hotel like weeks in advance. And he was going alone. He was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to wrestle on a show a couple days after in the area. You should call the promoter, get on that show, and then come to the festival. And I said, the show part sounds terrible, but I'll come to the festival. So I flew out there. I don't know. I feel like we went for the Lord that we could just say we went.
Yeah.
2 a.m. we woke up. We stayed at a hotel about 40 minutes out. We got dressed up like we were going sledding. I brought my my snowboarding pants that I've had for 15 years. They're bright red. And we got out of the car. You park about 1.5 miles away because you have to pay for a parking pass, and they were all sold out. So you park at the bottom of this hill in a small town, and it's dark, and people are just getting out and walking up this street. As soon as I got out of the car, it was 14 degrees, and I
Oh my God.
immediately realized I did not have enough clothes on. So I started digging through my luggage in the car and started putting more layers on. We walk, I don't remember how long it took, but it was this dark, unlit road up straight hill for 1.5 miles. And when we get there was already about 2,000 people
Oh my gosh.
just sitting around this stage watching these dudes on. I feel like they were radio DJs or something. They were in funny tuxedos and hats, and they're just listening to the music, dancing, singing like some sort of parody song every couple minutes that was groundhog themed.
Oh boy.
There was a bonfire. There were some food trucks, people selling hot chocolate. It was really exciting.
It sounds very quaint.
Yeah. And everyone seemed to be having like an okay time. I looked around.
Too cold.
Yeah, I don't think everybody was having a great time, but everybody was having a good time.
Why does it have to happen at 2 a.m.?
I don't know. Like the whole thing is they're going to wake this groundhog up at 7:30, but the whole process takes 4 hours, I guess, because groundhogs are really
Deep
they're
sleepers?
moody, deep sleepers. Everybody knows that. But every time I got bored and I just looked at Matt and I said, so this is it? We just stand here and watch these guys on stage dance for hours? They would like set off a confetti cannon or a firework display would happen just after I said it. So I was like, they must have known I was getting bored. And then they draw your attention somehow.
They can feel it. Wow. Tony, I think you were going to ask a question.
Oh, I was just curious. You said the hotel was 40 minutes away. Was that because that it's that big of a thing and that's the closest hotel you could get because everything else was sold out, or was this just where you stayed?
I'm assuming it's because there's not really hotels in that area. It's a small town.
Okay.
So, and maybe the hotels that were available there, we're above that. I'm a global superstar. Also, I'm using Marriott points, so we gotta really
you're
limited to where I can stay.
Limited. I mean,
you want to know more about the groundhog?
I want to know.
His name is Phil, by the way. It's Phil.
Hasn't it been Phil for longer than a groundhog's lifespan?
This is a different kind of groundhog.
What does that
I mean, that is what it was in the movie, too.
Yeah, Punxsatawney Phil. But I'm just saying, I feel like every groundhog, like the part of Phil is now being played by Gladys. She's 2 years old.
Well, the thing about it,
go ahead.
You can name a groundhog Phil that, like, multiple groundhogs can be named Phil. There's no rules.
I guess you're right. But didn't someone get in trouble for dropping the groundhog? Some politician?
No. Oh, I don't know about that, but I do know the whole time Matt and I were like going, what if they open it up and he's dead? And in Quebec, it happened that day.
Wait, so this happens at a lot of places, not just Punxsutawney?
Oh, yeah. Groundhogs are pretty big in the Northeast.
Okay. I mean,
No,
what I'm wondering
I don't know
whether,
how many places it happens.
All right. Has the groundhog ever seen it? Does the groundhog sometimes see its shadow? How does this work?
Well, he definitely saw it this year.
Okay. Because we had more winter?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the wild things. Like, it's this big party. Everyone's like excited. And then they come out and do this big presentation and they go through the whole spiel and he selects the scroll and they read this poem. And the second he says 6 more weeks of winter, 5,000 people just start booing a groundhog. Like, boo, you suck, Phil, boo. And then they just kind of all turn around and saunter away. And there's like no finale, no music. It just ends.
You need a catharsis at the end.
It was so weird.
You should have to sacrifice Phil because everyone's so angry. I'm just kidding. Okay.
The only way to get the sun to rise.
So in Quebec, the groundhog was dead?
I guess.
By the way, I just looked it up, and in 2014, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio accidentally dropped a groundhog, and a few days later it died.
That's so sad.
The whole thing is that I don't think I support this anymore because after the thing, well, by the way, they pull this terrified animal out who is in this cage, the log-shaped container. I don't know when they probably put him in about 30 minutes before they pull him out, I hope. Otherwise, there's just this terrified rodent with like thousands of people just screaming. And I just imagine him in this dark box, just like eyes bulging out and just shaking. And everyone's just like, wake up, Phil. Yeah.
I still don't quite understand why it has to start at 2, though. Is it so there can be hours and hours of lead up to it?
Yeah,
That's
it's a party.
Sounds like.
I don't know how any of it happens.
And also, before the movie, did they do any of this? They must have.
Yeah, the movie's based on this. Yeah.
Right, but I have to imagine it's gotten bigger and more robust since the movie, right?
I would imagine it brought a lot of attention to it, certainly.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. I'm not a groundhog anymore.
Ooh. How did you rid yourself of groundhog?
I don't want to get into it, but there was an incident.
Okay. All right. I'll allow that. Okay. So I know that you grew up in Rochester, right? But you live in Nashville now.
That's correct.
You're the youngest of how many?
4. I'm the youngest of 4.
And
There's
brothers,
older sister, and then 2 brothers, and then I'm the youngest. Yeah.
So what was your childhood like?
Pretty good. I have some pretty loving and supportive parents. My siblings, we all seem to get along, but being the youngest, I got beat up a lot. So by my brothers. They're both older than me. We're all 2 years apart. So my oldest brother's 4 years older. Me and my sister's 6 years older. And she was we're latchkey kids. Both parents worked. And at a young age, I remember we just get off the bus and we come home, and my sister kind of she really took care of me. She looked out for me, but she wasn't always there. There was times when my brothers would just beat the crap out of me. I remember, oh boy, I don't know if I want to mention this. I remember getting a wedgie from the bunk bed, from the top bunk. Oof. Yeah.
Wait, you were standing on the ground and they were on the top bunk?
I was in the air.
Oh, sorry. My understanding of wedgies is limited by, I guess, my sheltered upbringing.
Yeah.
I thankfully have not had too many. I mean, I've had wedgies just from walking around, but I've not had any like wedgies administered to me. Oh my God. So that's like an atomic wedgie.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. But it gave me grit. Helped me develop some grit. My sister used to dress me up in drag when I was real young. She would do my makeup. And we would also, I remember we would put together these like family skits for like parties. So like we'd go to like our cousin's house for a holiday or something, and then we would make the whole family become a captive audience and do these lip syncing routines.
Was it all your siblings or just your sister and you?
It was all of us. Yeah, all four of us. She would force us all to be in it. And I loved it. It was great. I never really knew what I was doing.
Do you think there's a relationship between her dressing you in drag and putting you in makeup and you and your Dalton Castle character now, who, I think if anyone doesn't know, like you have a very androgynous, flamboyant,
colorful and glittery. Yeah.
Yes. Character.
Glam rock. I feel, I think every step of my life has prepared me for the career that I landed in. Unintentionally. Like it was all an accident. We played sports. 3 of us played soccer. My oldest brother played football and baseball, but my father he coached every one of us who played soccer. So I got to have like my father as my coach for most of my life. And then I was the only one who got into wrestling. We watched pro wrestling when we were real little. I remember my brothers would we had these 2 couches in the basement, and they would push them together. Like, so they would face each other, and we pretend that was a giant ring. And I would put on plastic bags, like grocery bags, wear them like a tank top and tear it off like Hulk Hogan. And, but when I was like 11, I started wrestling in school. And we all kind of like picked a different sport to go down. And I was lucky enough to fall into that one.
And you were drawn to that because this is what I've gleaned from my research, which is spotty, but your sister's boyfriend, who you thought was very cool, was into wrestling. And is that why you chose it?
It is. Yeah. I thought he was real cool. I went to our town was huge that we lived in. It was a really big town. We had 4 high schools, and the middle school I was in, like 7th grade came around and they were like listing off the sports that they offer in gym class and they said wrestling, and like perked up because like I knew my sister's boyfriend wrestled, and I was like, I'll try that. And I had to leave the school I was in because my school didn't have the team. I had to get on a bus after school and go to a different school and be.
You were committed.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know anybody there. I was the only person who would travel over there. It was really weird. Oh, that's not true. I think one other kid came with me the first year. But yeah, it was scary.
Yeah. Did you like it right away? And if so, can you articulate what appealed, like what you liked about it?
I don't know. I must have liked it because I kept going back, but I remember being torturous. It was way harder than I was anticipating. I didn't know anything. And my first year was in 7th grade. I don't think I won a match. I got beat up a lot. And part of that was I was missing like 40 minutes of practice every day by traveling on the bus. But then the next year, it was in 8th grade. So I was one of the older kids on the team. And I started to get it in a little better. And the second like things started clicking in my head, it got enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
So then not senior year, after my freshman year, I had to do the same thing in high school. I had to travel to another school. And then after that year, I realized I loved wrestling. And so I switched high schools so I wouldn't miss 30 minutes of practice anymore.
Mm-hmm. Were you like a big kid, a little kid? And at what did you hit at what point in all of it did you hit puberty?
I don't think I'm there yet.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen when it happens.
I do. I have hopes. I want to grow a really thick beard. No, I wasn't like a big kid. I probably weighed like 130 when I was in middle school, early high school. I graduated high school at like I was wrestling at 171 my senior year. So what is it? That's kind of not big. That's average, right?
Yeah, I think so. I actually have a question about that because in 2004, you were wrestling at 171. And then in 2010, you were in the 215-pound division. So
Puberty.
What happened? Is that what that was?
I don't know what that, maybe. I went to college. Wait, what years was it? 2004 was when I graduated high school.
Right. I guess my question is, like, when an athlete does that, is that because they're eating eggs and building muscle, or is it like watching TV and eating ice cream?
Well, definitely ate a lot of ice cream in college. I think it has to do with I'm just working out more and I'm growing faster, and you kind of stunt your growth or your weight a lot in wrestling. I may have been wrestling at 171 in like college, 174 a couple of years, but I was probably weighing 190, 185 because you had to cut down weight each week.
Oh, right. How did you do that?
Well, in my early years, I would you do like the sauna suits, you like these rubber suits that you put on, and you lose like a ton of water weight like last minute. You really limit your intake of food and water the last couple days, and I had a terrible habit of puking before matches. Like the week before, I would
Like you hate yourself?
Yeah, like I would call it seasonal bulimia. It was because I learned that it would help me drop a couple pounds real fast before I weigh in. So I just kept doing it. It was like a lazy cheat. And
go ahead.
my teeth paid the price.
Oh,
Ton
really?
of cavities after that. Yeah.
I have never. I feel like I should almost at this point there should almost be a trigger warning for people who struggle with eating disorders. I've never successfully been able to make myself throw up except when I've been drunk, and I feel like all women who came of age at a certain time did try. But I was just like I could gag and stuff, but nothing would come up. However, if I was actually sick or had drank too much, then so easy.
You should come to the Groundhog Festival. We'll get you puking.
Okay, so I'm realizing something strategic. Is the point that you want to actually legitimately weigh more than your class than your division, because that gives you an advantage, and then you cut weight right before? Is that what's going on?
I don't know well, obviously what's better is to be healthy at the weight that you are. If you can lower your body fat and be naturally that weight, you're going to compete kind of better. But a lot of guys, so in the beginning of the year, you would take this test. It's called the hydration test. You try to lose as much weight as you can, and then you have to keep your hydration levels up, and you go to the doctor and they measure you pee in a cup, and then they did a litmus test, and then they're like, oh, okay, you're hydrated. And then they measure your body fat, and they tell you legally how far down you can go. And once they give you that bottom number, almost always your coach is like, all right, that's your weight class. So,
but why?
I think it's because everyone's doing it. So if you stay where you are, you're going to be wrestling people who are much larger than you and
right.
stronger. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, so there's a lot of different places to go. Let's stay with wrestling for a minute. What's interesting to me, and I'm sure I'm the millionth person to say this, but it's interesting that what you were doing, Greco-Roman wrestling, which seems more rigorous than it's more rigorous, more of a like genuine sport, arguably more competitive, is considered amateur wrestling, but then pro wrestling is much more theatrical. Like I said, I'm sure that this is not a unique thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, it also happens like you're not getting paid.
Oh, is that what makes amateur
stuff.
Versus pro?
Right.
Is that what that refers to?
I believe
see.
so.
Okay. So I know that you thought that Greco-Roman was the direction you wanted to go as opposed to professional wrestling, right?
Yeah, I never thought I was going to be a pro wrestler.
But why?
I don't know. There's a lot of things I never thought I'd be doing. I guess I just never. All right. My friends were pro wrestlers. When we were 15, one of my best friends started to train in the local area to be a pro wrestler. And then I was still competing in high school. And on the weekends that I wasn't at a tournament, I would travel with him, and I made all these friends and I saw what they were doing. But yeah, I think that's what it was, is like it looked fake to me. I knew what I was doing was harder than what they were doing, and I didn't look at it. I liked it and I respected what they were doing, but I don't think I saw it as the art form that I do now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot more in the tank for what I was doing with amateur wrestling. And I wasn't ready to stop doing that. I loved it. It consumed my life. I started when I was 11 years old. I've been in wrestling for almost like 28 years now. Mm. So it was weird to think of doing anything other than what I was doing at the time.
How was professional wrestling regarded among the people doing amateur wrestling?
Oh, they looked down upon a lot.
Okay.
Although there are a couple of teammates in high school, there was this kid, Nick. He was one of the lightweights. So I was probably like 170. He would have been like 115, maybe a 93 pounder. He was real light. I remember him and I would, before the tournaments start, you go to a high school wrestling tournament. It's in a gymnasium. Wrestling mats are giant. I don't know if you've ever seen one, but there's like 6 of them on the gym floor. So the entire gym floor is mats. Everyone's sitting in the stands, but before the tournament starts, all like the teams kind of like grab a quarter of a mat and they like drill and hang out together. And me and this kid, Nick, would have a pro wrestling match against each other. And sometimes like our friends on other teams in the stands would start cheering us on. So we're just like clotheslining each other. And instead of doing what we should be doing, which is like drilling moves and getting ready for our match, we're having a pro wrestling match. So it was a way to loosen up. So I guess a couple people thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm. What if you want to stick with amateur wrestling? What direction does that go? Like, what is the career path for that? I'm thinking of doing it.
Yeah, you can get into it. Well, there's open division tournaments, I believe. You can like compete in these, I guess, Olympic caliber world class tournaments. I don't know if there must be prize money involved. I think a lot of the guys, they like make their money like teaching, like running camps. I remember in the summertime when I was in college, I would travel to all these different like wrestling camps, and I would work as a counselor, but these camps were put on by like national champions from the NCAA that would just put their name on there, and they would teach a clinic for like a week long. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where they mostly make their money. So you mentioned that your brothers would beat you up, and then there was someone else who was beating you up, and I'm forgetting now, but everyone would beat me up. Would everyone beat you up? No, I don't know. Okay. I had older brothers, and I learned to kind of handle myself as I got a little older because I was a wrestler. And also I was just I guess I was still happy and cheery. Wasn't very punchable.
Wait, you weren't very punchable because you were happy and cheery?
Yeah, who wants to punch the smiley guy?
Well, so I was going to ask, do you feel like you were bullied? It sounds like it was more good-natured.
I don't remember getting bullied much. No, I don't.
Are you close with your brothers now? Like, are you angry about having been beaten up?
No, we're very good now. We're close. Yeah, I'm not angry about it because I think they've made me into who I am. My one brother, he's the oldest one, and he's a much larger human than me, which is weird. We come in all shapes. My one brother was like, when we were younger, he was probably like 270, 280. He was a big, burly, like, what would you call it? Like a strongman build, like big barrel chested. And our middle brother was real skinny and like, maybe like 130. And then I was, I'm the handsome, muscly Adonis. So we come in all shapes.
They saved the best for last.
But my biggest brother, we would go to the gym together and work out. And then somehow we developed this game between us. Oh, it's real funny. Tony, you should try this sometime. He would keep his eye on me. And if I ever was just standing there with my mouth sort of open, just with my jaw a little open, he would punch me in the face and see if he could knock me out.
Oh my
he was
God.
like, oh, yeah. And then we would do that to each other. It was a fun game.
Did he ever knock you out?
He never knocked me out. No, he would never really go with the force that it would take, but it would definitely hurt a lot. And one time we were at the gym working out. So stupid. I was taking off one of the 45-pound plates. That's the big ones, Allison. Okay. And he saw my hands were full and he just punched me across the face. And like, to be funny, I went to spike the weight down to start a fight with him, and I spiked it right on my foot. So like, it was a double whammy.
Did he laugh?
Well,
Did
yeah.
he feel... Right.
No, he didn't. He doesn't feel. No, he punched me in the face. He didn't feel bad at all.
I didn't know if maybe there was a line.
It was my fault. I had my mouth open.
Yeah, what were you thinking? So your sister, it sounds like she was like in.
Listen to this, by the way.
Okay.
You hear that?
Do that again. That's fun.
That's
this
my
is
jaw.
Your jaw popping in and out. Is that TMJ or is that from your brother punching you? Okay.
Who knows? I'm going to guess it's the jaw or the punch. No, I think it's from a wrestling match. I once dislocated my jaw in high school wrestling a guy.
What happens when you dislocate your jaw? Does someone have to pop it back in place?
It was, I went for like a double over. So you like hook it was a suplex. I went for a throw and he blocked by dropping his head below my jaw. And like, so like all his body weight on his head came, and my head hit the mat, and then his head and his whole body came crushing on my jaw. So it popped out and I was rolling around on the ground. And the ref, this is the best line I've ever heard from a ref, comes walking over, sees me in pain, and he goes, 2 words, mouthpiece. Ready to go?
Oh my God.
And in freestyle, you have to wrestle with a hanky or a rag tucked in your singlet.
Why?
Oh, in case you're bleeding, you just pull that out and you wipe the blood off, and then you put it back in your underpants, and then you start wrestling again.
Well, they've thought of everything.
So I took my blood rag out and I put it in my mouth, and then I finished the match.
They call them blood rags?
Yeah.
We ladies have something called that too. Oh my God. So wait though, when your jaw was popped out of socket, could you move your mouth? I mean, did it just go back, or did you have to like get someone to manipulate it back into place?
No, it went back in, but it was now like swollen, so I couldn't open it and chew. I couldn't move my mouth.
Oh my God. Were your
so
parents...
I had to.
Go ahead.
My dad was there. Yeah.
Were your parents worried about you? Worried about you pursuing this is what I was going to ask.
No, I don't think so. I was good. So they didn't worry too much. And I think they loved it. My dad, like, he traveled to almost every match that he could make it to. He traveled to all of them, especially in college. He would make the trip. My mother, she was way more supportive of that wrestling than what I do today, which is crazy because this is my career.
Yeah. Well, how did she feel about? Go ahead.
When I started to train as a pro wrestler, she was like, that's stupid. She just wanted me to do the other stuff.
What's the other stuff? You mean like,
yeah.
Sorry. What did your parents do?
My father, for most of my life, worked at Kodak. Kodak was like a huge company in Rochester, and he was in the digital imaging department. So he was in charge of like bringing the brand new cameras and printers to all these like trade shows in different countries. So I got to like the very first digital cameras were in my house, which
That's so cool.
Wild. Yeah. I remember you had these cameras that like you put a floppy disk in, you could take like 3 pictures and then that's it. I got to play with like the first versions of Photoshop and learn it that way. And my mother is a nurse. And as we got older, she started like transitioning into hospice care and became the vice president of the hospice care unit in Rochester.
That's intense work. It
was perfect for my career, though. I got a nurse when I get hurt.
Yeah.
I got a photographer guy for my promos.
Do your parents have a similar positive outlook to you? I'm specifically wondering about your mom who works in hospice care. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying like that's such intense work. I sort of wonder what that does to someone to be constantly around people at the end of their life.
I mean, they seem like generally happy people. My father's no longer with us. He died when I was 2010, I think. That sounds about right. But I don't know. They always kind of had a positive outlook on life. It made my life easier. They never really showed me their fear or doubt.
Yeah. So your mom is,
but also I was the youngest of 4. So like I was forgotten about a lot and left playing in my room by myself or the basement. So maybe I wasn't around to see the dark times.
But so your mom is not into what you do now?
She is supportive of me. I don't think she fully understands what I do, but she definitely realizes how it's a big deal and she loves that I do it. And she's proud of me. She is proud of me now.
What was it like at the beginning?
Dismissive, I guess.
Did she think it was silly?
Yes. Yeah, she did. But I mean, it's weird. It's a very weird world to like just kind of understand real quick. I have been around it my almost my entire life. So like I kind of figured it out from the inside. But if you just like show it to somebody and be like, oh yeah, they do this, they have 1,000 questions and they don't really understand what you tell them. I mean, do you fully get it yet?
Oh, I get it. I get it because I went to a match. I don't know if you've heard about all this. We went to see AEW.
Oh, you went when they were in LA?
Yes,
nice.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Ask her what time she showed up.
Okay.
Wait.
I was hoping this wasn't going to come up.
I had to.
I assume it's a 6 o'clock start. Or was it a 4
that's what I assumed. It was a 3 o'clock. It was a fucking 3 o'clock start. First,
that was the gates. The gates were open at 3.
Whatever. According to RJ, I should have been there the night before. It's a whole thing. I was quite late. Daniel could not leave at the time we needed to leave because of work. We hit a ton of traffic and then we got there and there was a ton of construction and we got bounced back and forth between the Forum parking lot and SoFi. Like they kept saying, you can't park here, you got to park at SoFi. SoFi's like, you can't park here, you got to park at the Forum. And we were just driving back and forth for like an hour outside. I mean, it was like such a debacle. I got there in time to see the ladder match, to see a little bit before the ladder match. And then we also saw Dark records after, right?
No, Rampage.
Rampage.
Yeah, Rampage.
Yeah, I miss Dark. But according to RJ, I have spit in the face of the entire industry by being that late. You wouldn't do this. You wouldn't show up that late to Phantom. You wouldn't show up that late to Cats. Where do you get off, is what he said. And I don't think he's entirely joking.
No, he's a little right.
Oh,
no.
Okay. It's fine. If you feel that way, it's fine. I
mean, you got there for the
feel
show.
bad.
You just missed Dark, which...
No,
that's
she missed 90 minutes of Dynamite.
Oh, it's only a 2-hour show, Allison.
I feel terrible. It is not what I wanted to happen. I was like despondent.
And it's
night.
a show. There's a through line throughout the whole evening. You show up 30 minutes in. What do you don't know what's going on?
Okay. Let's discuss this for just I can't believe it. Thank you, Tony. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much.
Look, I'll say in your defense though, I will say within maybe 5 minutes of sitting down, she turned, because she was sitting next to me, and she turned to me and she goes, I totally get it now. I will say
good.
that she sincerely did say that immediately.
I feel like I get it so much more, and I had so much fun for the amount of time that I was there, and I feel awful that I didn't get there sooner. I feel bad. I didn't know RJ was going to be there. I think he feels slighted that I don't know, but he
was working. He couldn't have hung out with you.
I know. That was what I thought. I didn't even know he was going to be at the venue, but...
Well, we're coming back. They're running Ring of Honor there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. I'm for sure going, and I will for sure be on time.
Go now. Get in line.
I know. Yeah, it is still being brought up to me repeatedly over and over and over. And I think it'll be brought up forever.
Part of me thinks that might be like a better experience. If you were to get there and watch early and like watch everybody file in, it wouldn't be as jarring as it is to walk into it with everything going on. Like the second you walk into an arena, a packed arena with like lights and music going on, that's overwhelming. And it's like a change of scenery on like the flip of a dime from concourse to show. So I support showing up late.
Thank you very much. But anyway, yes, to your point, no,
Mr.
I don't
Positive.
quite. I don't quite get it. I feel like I'm getting it more and more, but I understand it is like a bizarre world. Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you're at your best, you can do great things, but sometimes life gets you bogged down and you may feel overwhelmed or like you're not showing up in the way that you want to. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of you, because when you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything life throws at you. If you've listened to me for any amount of time, you know that I'm a huge, huge fan of therapy. I go every single week. Actually, I do it via Zoom every single week. It helps me immensely. It helps me just feel better, have a place to go to sort of talk through things that are on my mind, things that are bothering me. A big thing for me is always like, this situation, is it me? Is it the other person? Is it a combination? And therapy is just really good at helping you kind of tease out those things. It also, I mean, I don't think I would be in a healthy relationship that led to a healthy marriage were it not for therapy. So for me, it's been huge, and I recommend it for anyone who's even open to it, or even if they're not open to it. Listen, if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/bestfriend today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/bestfriend. Okay. Let's talk about your character for a moment.
Mr. Positive.
Right.
Where I come out and be like, I wish everyone could win.
So you're Dalton Castle. You were Ashley Remington in Chikara, which, by the way, did you know that Melissa Joan Hart follows your Ashley Remington Twitter account?
No, I didn't.
Yes, she does.
Oh, explain it to me. All of it. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have that pass. I got to figure out how to get back into that account.
Have you all, what was your character when you first started?
All right. It was similar to this. Well, at least my attitude was I've always been loud and like, guess grasping at straws and trying to grab attention. When I first started wrestling, I think I wore these like black trunks with like yellow stars on. I didn't have gear, but my friend Jimmy did. He had these old trunks he gave me. He let me wear. They were Macho Man's tights. Macho Man had this 3 stars across the front, so I wore those. I had these like white kick pads that I borrowed, and then I was tying tassels around my biceps like the Ultimate Warrior, and that's what I thought I was gonna be. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just do what I liked when I was a kid. I'm gonna try to be an 80s guy. And over the years, I mean, developing a character early in wrestling is very difficult to do because you don't even know how to wrestle yet. So it was tough to focus on a character and the moves. So it took me a few years to like kind of figure out that part of it. And then once that started clicking, then I started experimenting with other things and just kind of adding colors. I had this tag partner from upstate New York. His name is Will Calrissian. And when we started teaming together, we based most of our team off the song from Katy Perry, Peacock. So we're just like, okay, we're the Peacocks. And we came out, we would wear the masks, like these feather masks that the boys wear today. Mm-hmm. We had these like suit jackets with tassels down the sleeves. Again, like Macho Man Randy Savage. And we would just come out and just be ourselves. It was really just kind of make each other laugh and our friends all laugh. And as I started progressing, I was starting to get into different cities and wrestle more. He wasn't able to travel with me every time, so I had to go singles a lot. And I remember I was in Pittsburgh, and Tommy Dreamer, who's like a very respected and a legendary wrestler that I grew up watching, he was on the show, and I was asking him advice after, and he was like, "Yes, you're good. I mean, you look right, and I know you know what you're doing in the ring, but I don't know what the hell you are. Like, you come out, you've got all these like tassels, you wear these like bandanas on your wrist. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, it ain't clear." And that like stuck with me. I was like, oh, I need to figure something out here. And I added a cape. I was like, that'll solve it.
What name were you performing as at that point?
Dalton Castle. I was calling myself at the time I was calling myself the Party Peacock. I was still the Peacock. Mm-hmm. I was a peacock for a long time.
By the way, when I was in a band, I feel like we got that same advice. Like from looking at you guys, like, I can't tell what you're doing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It was like an image.
Wild, because like, I know what I'm doing. Why can't you see it?
Yeah.
I'm the cool one.
Okay, so you got a cape. That was the way that you implemented Tommy Dreamer's advice, was you got a cape. Yeah.
I think at one point I ended up getting like a tryout for WWE, and it didn't end in a job. So that was a moment of where I thought it was kind of over. Like, I get to the like when you start wrestling, WWE is like the goal. It's like the only thing you know there is out there. So once that opportunity came, I went down there and I really thought this was it. I was so miserable at my radio job. I was like, this is it. I'm out of here. I don't have to take this shit anymore from all these talentless hacks telling me what to do on the air. I'm going to go be a wrestling star. And then it didn't happen. And I thought it was over. And I was like, well, if they don't want me, so what's left for me? So there was like maybe 3-4 months of just kind of like going through the motions as the wrestler. And there we go. That was a depressing time.
Mhm.
I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going to happen with myself. And then I went to a Ring of Honor show in New York, and I called up Rhett Titus. He's a guy who's been there for a long time. I wanted to come help set up the ring. I said I'm going to be in New York the day of the show, and he let me come. I set up the ring. I met a bunch of people, and then when the show started, it was in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and it was
Oh,
it was
cool.
their biggest show of the year. It was Final Battle. It was unlike anything I've ever seen. The crowd came alive. The building started vibrating the second Jethro Tull music starts playing. They play this song before every Ring of Honor show, and the crowd starts banging on the metal boards. The lights are going, and my heart starts racing. I'm just sitting in the wings watching all this, and it just dawned on me. I was like, I don't fucking need WWE. I can go and be king of the indies, and this can be my home. And it just ignited a new spark in my heart where I was motivated again.
Mhm.
I started taking more bookings and being more positive about it. And I started going, my friend in Toronto, Ashley Six, was running a show, and he suggested showgirls to come out with me. When he's like, I'm going to get showgirls with the feathers and stuff to come out with you. So we were just chatting one day on Messenger on Facebook and sending these videos back and forth. And he sent me a video of this Canadian pop star. It was on a Canada's Got Talent or something.
Mhm.
And the guy was wearing this jumpsuit singing this David Bowie song. And I was like, that is the vibe that I go to. I love Freddie Mercury and David Bowie. And there's all these musicians, because I work in radio, all these rock shows that I go to, and I'd see these performers just become different people on stage. It didn't matter if they were singing well or performing well. What their energy was what the crowd was into. And I was like, what? I'm charismatic and loud, but why? How do I do what they're doing, but in wrestling? So I bought a Elvis costume. It was a gold jumpsuit. It was $70, and it was flimsy and crappy. And I did not have a lot of money, but I believed in that look so much that I bought the jumpsuit. I had a cape already. I went and did the show there was 3 showgirls that came out with me. We didn't block any of it out. We just kind of did a weird dance. They undressed me. It was weird, but the crowd was into it, and I liked the vibe of it all. And when it came to the back, my friend Ashley goes, "Hey man, how'd it go?" And I said, "It was great, but I think they need to be boys." And it just clicked. And immediately on the drive home, I start thinking of ways to formulate costumes. I went under my bed, pulled out all. I was making my wife makes all my gear, so I pulled out all these
cool.
remnants of fabric, and I I can make something out of this. And by the 6 days later, I was doing a show in Watertown. I had in my head this concrete entrance that I wanted to do. I went to Party City, and there was this peacock costume with these big feathered wings. I bought that, cut it in half. I was like, these look like fans.
Uh-huh.
And I showed up late. I had to leave my radio job at 6 o'clock, and I had to drive. And as I got there, we were 2 matches away. I had called ahead and asked my friend to recruit two guys to play the part of my boys. So he grabbed some students. I show up. I'm in a match with 7 people.
Oh, wow.
And if you have 7 people, you can't just improvise. You have to all be on the same page. Otherwise, you can't communicate with each other.
Mhm.
And instead of going over the match with everybody, I grabbed these 2 guys and I went in the corner and I rehearsed our entrance up until the match time. And I don't remember much of what the match was, but I nailed that entrance. And when I came back, one of my friends was like, "Hey man, I saw that on the monitor. You look like a fucking star." And I was like, "Yay." And then a couple weeks later, I added the wings with the whole open thing, and it's kind of snowballed.
Have you have not had the same, I don't even know if you talk about this. You have not had the same boys the whole time, right? It's like a Menudo situation.
Yeah. Well, now I've got like my boys prime. So
They're
when
twins.
the Tate twins, Brant and Brandon, they are excellent at being boys. They are like, it's unbelievable how perfect they are and how
did you
great they
find
are
them?
doing it. It was just luck. I was doing the act for maybe 2 or 3 years before Ring of Honor gave me a look, and they were giving me a spot in Nashville. It's like this top prospect tournament where like they kind of showcase new guys, and I had done a tryout for them, and they offered me the spot. And when I showed up, they said, we want you to do the whole entrance. We like what you did. We want you to do the thing. And then I asked Kevin Kelly, who's an announcer for New Japan now. He was an announcer for Ring of Honor at the time. I said, I need 2 guys for my entrance. Do you know anybody I can use? And he just looks over and he goes, well, the Tates are twins. Can you use them? And so I asked them, and they were like super excited to be a part of the show and took it serious. We went through the blocking. Ring of Honor doesn't have ring steps, or at the time they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So like you had to be athletic to get in it. There was no steps to walk up.
Right.
And I'm
You
in
gotta,
this like
jump in, right? Or roll or
Yeah.
whatever they do.
and I'm in this cheap jumpsuit that I'm afraid is going to rip. So I'm like, how the hell am I going to get in? And then it just like, I was like, oh, what if I make them into, can I make them into stairs? Would that be okay? And I asked and they said, yeah.
Right. And it's perfect. Because if it was women, I think people would be like, what?
Because
it's boys,
I've
you can
done
do
it with women and it's not cool. Twice.
Yeah.
The first time. And then another company saw my act and was like, oh, we love it. We're going to change it though.
Who was that?
They're called Impact now, but they were TNA at the time.
Oh,
They,
and you were with them for a little bit?
Only for a weekend. So I did this show in Nashville, and the second like I opened the wings up, it was like I had been there for years. The crowd was so polite and inviting. It just made me feel real, like it filled me with such positive feelings and confidence that I knew what I was doing was right. And like the match went well. I lost and didn't have a job. So like a couple days later, somebody from TNA called me and said, we want to fly you down for a couple tapings. And when I got there, they were like, they looked at me and they said, hey, yeah, we had to change it to girls. Boys was too gay. And I just like being a young kid, instead of standing up for myself, I just went, okay, yeah, whatever. And I went through it. And I knew right from that moment, I knew I wasn't going to work there. I knew I couldn't work there. Well, they were closed-minded and stupid. And you liked my act. What are we changing?
Right.
You brought me here for me. Let me be me.
Right. The androgyny and I don't know what I would even.
I just want to touch on the Tate twins again.
Yes.
We were on like the last hour it was 4 hours of taping. I watched them in the corner going over the steps of our entrance the entire time. It wasn't their match. It was my opportunity. And they took it so serious and helped me out in such a big way. I couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. Like had it not been them, it might have been it might have went well, but it definitely wouldn't have gone as well. They set me up for a lot of success. It was great.
So great. Are they, what did they do aside from being your boys? Like, are
Beats
they
me.
like, I was wondering if are they wrestlers on their own or?
Yes. Yeah. They're very good wrestlers too. Yeah. And we were just champions together. We held the Ring of Honor 6-man titles for the second time. I don't know, for like 8 months. It was a long time.
That's awesome. I'm sorry you lost it. You lost your belt.
It's okay. Going through TSA has gotten a lot easier.
So what I was going to say is like the androgyny and I don't even know if it's accurate to say homoeroticism. Like it seems like other people like that.
It's just
TNA.
hot, Allison. It's just hot what I do.
Okay, the heat. Yeah. like obviously the TNA person thought that was an aspect of it. Is any of that intentional? Is it just this is your expression?
Yeah, I'm not trying to push buttons or anything. I'm legitimately doing what I'm attracted to, and the characters I see on these stages and who I admire and find inspiration from, they act this way, and I'm comfortable doing this. So that's who I want to be. This sexual.
What was that? We did hear that. Yes.
It was just my Therocane.
Oh yes, we have one of those too.
Put it right here.
Oh, Tony, we have.
Hey, purple one. Oh my
have
God,
the
Allison, if you have one right next to you, that'd be perfect.
It's in the house, but it's purple. It's like the same as Tony's, except it has little bite marks all over it because Wendy.
I'm just
went
gonna get
to
a couple
town on
knots
it.
out real quick.
Yeah, do it. What were you saying?
I don't remember.
You were saying that you're not trying to push buttons. This
No,
is
I'm just being awesome.
Yeah. So when you had your radio show, and you had a radio, you were a radio guy for years.
Yeah, about 8 years.
What was the format?
I started in alternative new rock in Rochester. I did about 3 years there. Oh boy. So I started in weekends, and I got that job because I graduated with a broadcast degree, and I had a broadcast and theater degree, and I don't know what to do with my life. And the only jobs in Rochester are either the news or radio. So I got a job in the promotions office, which is where you just go to like the strip club and hang banners up and give away prizes, which, oh boy, what a job. And we had these like sessions where they would bring like the band in who's playing whatever club that night. They'd come in and we'd bring a couple listeners in for like an acoustic session or a meet and greet. And the listeners would show up and we'd put them in this conference room and they'd just sit there bored. And so I just start entertaining the people, talking to them, like asking them all these questions. And I just never stopped making sure they were distracted, that they were just waiting to meet Carolina Liar, which who's going to wait around 3 hours for that? Whatever. But the program director at the time, she was in there. Her name was Therese, and she just loved that I was ambitious and not scared. And she said, "Hey, you want to be on air?" And I go, "Absolutely." So they started training me. I did weekends for a couple months, and then the night guy got fired, so I got to do nights. And then after a couple months of that, our station played Opie and Anthony. They played the replay in the afternoon. So Opie and Anthony would do their morning show. We would get the recording and air it in the afternoons. And it was huge. It was a big show in Rochester. So they got fired, and I immediately got put on air for the afternoons. So I was just brand new to it, and everyone hated me.
I was going to say, yeah, if people are expecting Opie and Anthony, say O and A. That's what we call them. I don't know who calls them that. And then
so many phone calls. Yeah, they were, "Where's O and A?" And I just got sick of it, and I just started saying, "Oh, you didn't hear? They died." And I would try to tell everybody that they died. And then I got in trouble from the program director for that.
Did you use a special radio voice, or did you use the one that we're hearing right now? Was it a little radio-ier?
I would, maybe the first couple of years, probably. Yeah. I remember being real nervous. Like anytime I would crack the mic, I would never sit. I was always standing, and I'd like get that stance like on the thing.
YouTube.com/AllisonRosen to see the stance.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot.
see the hot stance and the shiatsu massager thing. Yeah,
I was yelling a lot into the microphone, which now not a good thing to do, but yeah, that's the voice I would use. Guy who's too nervous, so he just screams and talks real fast.
What did your mom think of your radio career?
Oh, she liked that. She thought that was cool. Yeah, she would listen and then like text me when she hears it. She was very proud of that.
Oh, that's sweet. Were you a good student? And I ask because when I was trying to think of an acronym, acronym. I don't know. To recall the order of the planets, which I do know now. You said PEMDAS. And
Yeah.
PEMDAS. And I didn't know what that was. And I looked it up and I'm like, oh, I remember learning this. But I feel like only a good student would remember that.
Oh. Well, my father was also a math teacher for part of my life. So
I didn't know that. Okay.
That was burned into my brain too. Left that part out. Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
I only talked about the interesting parts of his job.
Yeah. Some people find math fascinating. So, but were you a good student?
Not at first. No, there was talk of like holding me back when I reached middle school. I got kicked out of class a lot. I was very starving for attention, which I've calmed down a lot now that my career is like my outlet, but I would get kicked out for joking around too much. I spent a lot of time in in-school suspension, and my freshman year, I was in earth science. I remember my teacher just had it with me. I did something. I think I threw like a wadded up wet paper towel at somebody's face during and my earth science teacher kicked me out of class for the rest of the year. There was like 2.5 weeks left. For the rest of the year, you're gone. But what came clear is as I got better in high school wrestling, I had to do good in school. I wanted to switch high schools. My parents threatened to not let me do that, or they were going to send me to a Catholic school if I didn't get honor roll. And if I wanted to continue wrestling, I had to be good at school. So I did what it took. I did the bare minimum to stay on the team.
Got it.
I started sitting in the front row so I wouldn't screw around anymore.
You buckled down.
I did. I figured it out.
How did you meet your wife?
She was going to massage therapy school in Rochester, and she was classmates with my roommate's girlfriend at the time. And what happened was, I believe she was watching a YouTube video that we made. I would always make like little skits and videos through my whole life. I still do it. Like I'm still making Planet Peacock on YouTube. That's bizarre. I've been doing it for almost, holy crap, almost 30 years. But she saw me in one of their videos and said she wanted to meet me because I was hot. So yeah, I went to a party and met her there.
And the rest is history? Yeah.
Well, it was a romantic evening. We were at somebody in their class was having like a party with like a fire, like a big bonfire. This is an adult party, by the way. Okay. We were the youngest people there.
How old were you though?
22, maybe 21.
Oh, you guys have been together for a long time.
Yeah. 15 years about.
Wow. And now she's leaving you for the NASA guy.
It's about time. She moves up in this life and gets out of this world.
Right.
I was a sweetheart too. Like, so she was throwing fireworks into the fire secretly. She threw fireworks into the fire, and they started going off. And as everybody scattered, I grabbed her and used her as a human shield. And I think at that moment she was like, "This guy, he's a protector. I want to date him."
And but at that point, did you already know that she liked you? Had already been communicated to you?
I was told this girl thinks you're hot.
Right. Okay, yeah, so you had already been told that. Got it. Okay, let's see here. What time is it? We're taking up your whole evening, but we have Just Me or Everyone, Hey Go Fuck Yourself, and some questions. Let's quickly do Just Me or Everyone.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Okay, do you happen to have one?
I can pull one out. All right. Is it just me, or does everyone think about how our bodies are made up of trillions of microorganisms, and you're like thinking about this with your brain that you think is yours, but then you realize your brain is also made up of trillions of little microorganisms. So you're like, hey, is it me or is it we?
I don't have that thought, but I will now. But sometimes when I see a like super magnified picture of all the like little mites and shit that live all over your skin, then I want to die.
Do you get itchy?
Yes, I do. All right.
You have to take care of those. They're reliant on you, Allison.
I know. It's a real symbiotic
They want you to eat
relationship.
right. They want you to be happy. They want you to scrape your skin off.
What should I do? What should I do to take care of them? Periodically spill food on my arms or something?
They love Slurpees. Go to 7-Eleven. Just pour it all over you. Like a Juggalo with Faygo. Just dump it in your head.
Yes. Do you happen to have a hey, go fuck yourself?
The people on the plane who stand up in the aisle as soon as the seatbelt sign goes off. Especially the man last week who was sitting on the window and I was in the aisle and said to me, hey, can I get out and get my bag? And I had to explain, when it's your turn, yes.
As you should.
Do you enjoy those kind of exchanges? Like, do you enjoy? No.
No, because why am I still teaching this lesson, which is so plainly obvious to me and most of the world? Why? How are people still doing this? Are they just not looking around? Do you not see that there's nowhere to go? And also, you're making it longer for us all to get off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
If we all just filed out the way it should be done, you know what's incredible? AEW. We usually take a bus from the hotel to the venue, and it's remarkable when we pull in and everyone stays seated and they file one by one. Everyone gets up and it gets out so smoothly, and it makes me so happy. I was like, oh, we all go through the same problem every week on the plane, and now look at us.
Those other promotions, their buses are chaotic.
Probably. They don't even have buses.
Sorry. So we got to get, you have to
eat dinner.
You have to say, so hey, blah, blah, blah. And then Tony will play the drop.
Oh. So, hey, impatient people on the plane.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Thank you.
No, I don't
All
like
right.
this harsh language. You know what? I take it back. I'm sure they've got some reason. Maybe they're going to miss their flight. I feel bad. Maybe it's their first time traveling. They've never been out of time. Let's keep it positive, everybody.
No, I think that there's like special dispensation for someone who, if the plane's there late and they're trying to make a connection, they get, but he would have said that if that were the case. He was just being an eager beaver. Okay. We have some questions. You apparently have dinner you need to eat, so we'll get through these quickly. I am on Patreon, patreon.com/Allison Rosen.
Patreon.
Bonus episodes of The Friend Zone. That's my Patreon podcast. There's a level where you can watch the Thursday shows. There's a level where you can text me and I'll text you back. All sorts of fun behind the scenes content, all sorts of fun stuff. If you do the annual subscription, you get 2 months free. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. And you can send in questions for my guests. And then I also took some questions on Twitter, and we have a song.
When we ask, they send them in. They're wondering how you have been. So thanks so much for answering these questions from our fans.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh, it turns out I need glasses. Okay.
Ooh, you look so much smarter.
Thank you. Okay. My question is, okay, this is from Sam Randall. I will read the preamble. I wrote this as a just me or everyone, but have to say again that at first glance, I can get Dalton and Nick Weiger mixed up, especially now that Nick has longer hair. Nick is a co-host of the Doughboys. Okay. And a big wrestling fan. My question is...
Get us in the same room.
I could do that. Do you listen to Doughboys?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I have, but I don't listen to him. Yeah, I know of it.
You know of it, yeah. My question is, what are his favorite TV shows or movies? Does he have any he goes back to again and again?
Well, at the moment, doing a lot of Office because I've been listening to a lot of Office Ladies, and so like it's made me relive all the episodes. And I've
It's
also
too bad
caught
it's
up.
never on TV though.
Well, I don't have cable.
No, it's just if
It's on every channel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on some channel at all times. I'm convinced.
And Trailer Park Boys. I think that show is incredible. Yeah. What was it? Movies too? Or is it?
Oh yeah.
movies or
Well,
just
TV shows or movies.
Oh.
Are there movies you go back to over and over?
Yeah, I can watch Jaws at any minute, any day if it's on.
You know, I've never seen Jaws.
Get out of here.
I know. I feel like I need to see it, and also I need to get out of here. And also, Office Ladies. That is
Sorry.
a real. That's a real. I'm surprised. It's a surprising pick for you. I think. I don't know.
Well, they're so well prepared with like talking about the process of the show itself, and that part fascinates me.
Yeah,
Just like breaking down things.
I do like to listen to like recap podcasts and things. Okay. Fwam Dre says, who are Dalton's favorite painters or paintings, and what inspires him personally to paint? Thank you.
Colors. That's my inspiration. I don't know if I have like a favorite painter as far as like classicals go. Love me some Van Gogh. Who doesn't love that? Some impressionist.
Sure.
Jackson Pollock. He makes me feel like I can do that, but also makes me feel like I can't when I try. So yeah, maybe those will do.
I think those will do. Let's see here. Okay. Phineas Coathanger. What is the biggest drawback of being the most charismatic man on the planet?
It's a terrible burden, you know? People just flock to you and they always want more. They never get enough. These don't seem like real sincere questions.
And Nick Wester wants
Also,
to know what?
I just thrown some more charisma your way.
Oh, thank you. What was the deal with Smooth Sailing Ashley Remington and the fruit baskets?
That's none of their goddamn business. Why don't you ask Smooth Sailing about that? The guy's smooth, and and everyone loves him, and he's just a great guy. Did you ever watch that? You should watch some Ashley matches. You'd like it, Allison.
Okay, I will. But I think I forget if we told you or not that Daniel signed up for whatever old wrestling is carried on. So we were watching an old wrestling match and very entertained.
Oh, the one I just did is the Phantom?
Yes, where you're the Phantom and you have to wear a mask because you're too handsome.
It was so fun. Okay, so those shows are run by a friend of mine that I always wanted to be a part of them, but I was always contracted to Ring of Honor and wasn't able to. So it was, not to mention, I got nervous that night because RJ, when I watched his performance and I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do anything as clever and as well thought out as what he's doing. It was just a great night. Everyone, I still haven't watched that show back. I need to get on
Oh, you
that.
should watch it. It's very entertaining. Yeah. That was really good. Well, Dalton,
I have 3 Phantom masks. 3.
Why?
At any minute. You don't know. Raul might show up.
That was a very European way you did 3.
It's
to use your thumb.
It's a wrestling thing. That's how they score the points.
Oh.
Wait,
why?
do you call it European because of Inglourious Bastards?
No. I just know that when I was in Europe, they too is like they use the thumb instead, like whereas I would just hold up 2 fingers like rabbit ears.
Peace sign, yeah.
In Europe, I noticed that it was thumb and forefinger. So
I don't know. It started in high school. Like they score wrestling points like that in freestyle.
I guess it is easier to see from far away than if it were. No.
And also easier on the hand. You like strain tendons in the back. Come on, guys. America, use the thumb. Let's thumb it up.
Let's thumb it up.
That's
Dalton,
the quote
this
for the
was
episode.
So nice. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I am going to try to make you do another show when you come to town. I don't know if you'll have time, but I will try to make you. And
I will make time. I would love to do it.
Thank you.
I would much rather be doing this in person with you. I feel like there's this weird disconnect over the Zoom.
There is, yes.
And I'm still holding back and not opening up to you. So if you want to get to know the real me, invite me over. Let me go in your pool. Do you have a pool?
I don't have a pool, but you can pee.
No
in our
podcast.
house. Damn it.
Wait.
What if I get... Yeah?
Why did you go with pee?
Well, I was thinking of like a small, collection of water.
You thought I want to go in your pool to pee?
No. I would, but I'm saying, look, I cannot offer you the amenity that would be a pool, but I can offer you a toilet if that, so it's like,
Those
you're not
are
just
not one. Those are no way
I feel like they're
relatable.
commensurate.
Nah, other than the water being involved, that is it.
That water's involved.
What
You
is
can have
wrong
some
with
coffee.
you? This was going so nice.
Tony, cut that part out too. God damn it.
The part where he said it was going so nice.
No,
Yeah.
keep that in. Look, it's March 31st that you're going to be here. So we could probably get a pool by then.
Yeah. Start
Okay,
digging. Encino Man style.
We'll get a pool, then we can do this in person and it will be delightful. Tell everyone, plug whatever you'd like to plug.
I got a website, theplanetpeacock.com. The Ring of Honor pay-per-view, March 31st in Los Angeles. If you don't live in the area, go ahead and order that sucker.
Mm-hmm.
Watch AEW. What else do? I got a Twitch channel. I like when people watch me paint, although it hasn't been very frequent. So follow me on that because I don't usually announce when I'm going. I just go.
And what is your Twitch channel?
The Dalton Castle.
Okay. And they should follow you on Twitter because I think you often let people know on Twitter when you're going to be on Twitch. Right?
Oh, yeah. My Twitter handle on that is @none of your goddamn business.
Oh, sassy. Do you do you think of yourself as an extrovert?
Sure.
Do you
Maybe.
think yourself as an introvert?
I don't know.
Okay, perfect.
I'm too afraid to say.
Well, then this is what we'll get into when you come swim in my pool. Boy, Daniel's going to be thrilled.
Oh, hey, I saw that Daniel's got my shirt and RJ's
He
shirt
does.
now.
Yes, he's been
That's
wearing
awesome.
them both. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm
Representing.
I'm very
Yeah.
proud.
If we were people who spit in the face of the entire industry, would he have your shirts?
Yeah, right?
I feel I've been painting.
I don't see you wearing the shirt, though, so I feel like only one part of the family is off the hook.
Damn it. Okay. Tony, what about you?
Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
I want a
And-
jingle.
That's it. Next time.
can
When
get
you're
you
in
one.
person, when you're in that pool.
Covered in
and-
piss.
Oh, wait. I know I'm interrupting, but do you have we have an RJ one. Do you have that at the ready? Any of them?
Yes.
RJ City.
Is that you, Allison?
No, that's Jackie Johnson, frequent guest. Yeah. But, I mean, we can get something whipped up for you, too. Tony, what about you?
Yeah. Oh, and then Bizarre Albums every Tuesday. And then I've foolishly been forgetting to plug there's a new Don't Stop or We'll Die album out called Signature Please. And that's available on all the streaming places now. So that's about it.
Perfect. Wonderful. And if you like what you're hearing, or even if you don't, please make sure you're subscribed. Please leave us a review, 5 stars, youtube.com/Allison Rosen to watch this and subscribe there as well. I already mentioned Patreon. Also, if you are an Upworthy Weekly fan, you may have noticed it's not happening anymore, but Todd and I are not leaving. We are now doing our as yet unnamed podcast on Patreon, and there's just one tier. It's just $2 a month. So you can't afford not to, unless you don't want to. Patreon.com/Allison and Todd. And that's Allison with 1 L, Todd with 1 D. Take it up with our parents. Follow me on social media at Allison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. I think that'll do it. Dalton, thank you so much.
Thank you. I got one more plug I left
please.
out.
Please.
You can also catch me becoming fast new friends with Jimmy Pardo in the near future. I can't wait for that blossoming friendship.
I did worry a tiny bit. I'm like, I kind of want to gatekeep this. And then I thought, no, I'm going to let it happen. You guys are destined to be friends. And
Yeah.
I am going to foster
You know,
that.
I know should really be an off-air conversation, but I'm just going to throw it out in the universe. We record a Thursday show when Dalton's in town. The
And
other
we bring-
guest, Jimmy.
Is Jimmy.
Oh, Yeah. A mute. Is it meet cute? What is it?
A meet cute.
Setup?
Yeah. A meet cute.
Oh, I'll spill my crayons all over the table, and he'll be like, "Oh, I'll help you with those." It's gonna be great.
Yes, you should have like a big unwieldy bag with a baguette in it.
And my hair up in a bun and glasses.
Yes. Oh boy. Yes.
Pull them out.
It might work because I think the weekend is when. Are you here for WrestleMania as well?
Is that the same weekend?
Yes.
Is that weekend?
I think so. Yeah.
I've got friends in the area, so I might stay a couple extra days, and I mean, we'll work it out.
Okay. Because I think
anything
Jimmy
we do
needs it to
together will probably be
maybe.
after the pay-per-view. So I'll stay a couple days.
Okay, perfect. I can't wait.
Stay at your house. Thank you.
Yes. You can stay at our house. We have bunk beds.
Ooh, perfect.
Daniel and I sleep in bunk beds.
He's had a bad experience with bunk beds before, though.
Oh yes. No, we don't do wedgies. You can sleep in the trundle.
I'm bigger now. I'm bigger than my brothers. They can't hurt me anymore.
All right. You guys, thank you. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go.